Hello everyone, Crash here, this is RTM Motorsports. Today what we're going to be taking a look at is Prosimu's version 2 of their shifter plate, as well as some other accessories that they sent to us as well. I'll kind of give you my thoughts and opinions on all of that. Here we go.
Welcome to RTA Motorsports.
So if you're not aware of what my Prosimu motion rig is, it's a T1000 2 degrees of freedom motion rig. There are several people on YouTube as well as an X simulator that have the 2, 3, 4, all the way and up. And one thing that's interesting with the Prosimu motion cockpit is you can buy just the cockpit itself with no motion. You can build it up over time. That's what we plan to do here. I plan to get my 3 degrees of freedom add-on soon. That being aside, I'll have videos in the description of our build vlog as well as my review of this rig. So since we own the rig, we've had 2 shifter plates in our possession. The first one I accidentally destroyed when I was trying to mount it to the rig. I wasn't sure how I was going to mount it, and the way that I drilled the bolt patterns for one way I thought I wanted it was totally incorrect. So Patrick was nice enough to send us another shifter plate soon after our purchase, and as you can see, these shifter plates, they are metal, and they're pretty thick metal. I thought for sim racing, what we do here, this would be sufficient. Now, you can tell there, if that would be the mounting surface there, that is no longer at a 90-degree angle. That has kind of a downward bend to it. So what I had mounted to this was my Fanatec V1.5 SQ shifter with the handbrake mounted to the side of that. And unfortunately, in iRacing, in their new rallycross, we came up to a hairpin. It was kind of a tense corner, and I yanked that handbrake, went all ham on it, and unfortunately bent my shifter plate. So I reached out to Patrick. I'm like, hey Patrick, unfortunately I broke another one. How much is it going to cost for you to send me one? And that's when he actually told me he has a V2 because he's heard this a few times from especially Fanatec owners, and he created this V2 shifter plate, and if I want to purchase that, he'll send that to me, and he sent me a few other accessories as well that we're going to be looking at. So you may be wondering why we are down here right now, and it's because many of you on our last video that we did on the Fanatec review, the Fanatec V1.5 SQ review, noticed that my shifter is now a little high. Now the way I had my last shifter mounted was it actually came lower. It came probably about down here, so it lowered my shifter by a few inches. This one here is made to be mounted in this orientation, so that way the support braces are underneath, and so we're gonna have to lower it. Not only that, I think just because of the way I mounted it, I'm not sure. We do get a little bit of side-to-side motion, and it doesn't really affect me while I'm driving, but if I purposefully do this, it does move from side to side. Even though there's 2 bolts underneath mounting it to the rig, there is a little play side to side. I don't know what that's about. We're going to try to address that too real quick. Kind of wish the tolerances were a little tighter so that way we didn't get that side to side motion. Hopefully when we lower it down a little bit, maybe the top holes are stretched a little bit from the first shifter plate I put on. Not really sure. Like I said, you know, when I'm racing, it doesn't really affect me at all. Not even the slightest. All right, there we go. So we're unhooked there. While I have it disconnected, I figured this would be a good time as any just to show you how robust these support braces are and pretty much how right out to the edge they are. They are tack welded in, it looks like, with a few tack welds on each side. It is the same thickness of metal as the rest of the shifter plate, and you can see on the shifter plate in the back you have plenty of opportunities to mount it pretty much anywhere. You can mount it to the side of the seat if you like, so you could really mount it down here and have the shifter, and of course turn the shifter, but you could have it down here in this orientation if you like, or you could have it up here. I'm going to toy with a few of these ideas. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet, especially being that we have disconnected. The only problem that I have is this cable coming off the Fanatec wheelbase is really short, and this is what actually goes to the shifter. I think we might actually just be stuck still putting it here, but I think I would kind of like to have it down here on the seat. That would be kind of sweet. The only thing that I'm noticing is with my aftermarket seat, this NRG seat that I got off eBay, the padding, it's a larger seat, so the bolsters come out quite a bit. and I think that might actually impact it a little bit, but I think it should, yeah, look at that, it should be able to mount just fine right next to here. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do yet, but I think for now we're still going to mount it up here. Let's jump in the rig and I'm going to kind of move this around, see how it feels. So let's see about this height. I'm just going to hold it with this hand here, just kind of mocking it up. I think this height is a little bit better. I would actually still kind of prefer it a little bit lower. But I think with the side bolster, you can see it hitting my right arm. If I had the shifter here, my arm would be in the way of that bolster, so it has to be up here. So we might end up having to eventually just going and drilling some holes a little bit lower on this pedestal, but I think this height would do for now, as opposed to where it was about up here before. So much improved. We're going to bolt this down and give it a go. All right, everyone, so we're inside the rig and we're going to be testing my new, basically my newish shifter position with this new pack released by Project Cars 2, and that is the Fun Pack. So we're in the 1966 Ford Mustang RTR, and it just sounds and looks absolutely insane. It's a 4-speed. Oh my gosh. It actually handles pretty good, but you can tell it's an old suspension. I mean, there is still some of that floatiness of it. Oh yeah, it actually corners really well. But my gosh, it sounds crazy. Listen to that. Whoa, got some air. Got the Forza 7 helicopter. What are we doing with their helicopter? Oh man. Hard on the brakes, trying to hold it in. Oh my gosh. This is going to be insane in VR. I can tell I want this shifter a little bit lower still. But this plate is strong. I just wish that it had maybe some adjustments on the top side so we could lower it even further without having to drill the rig out. But it is a sturdy plate, that's for sure. Brakes are the one thing that kills this car, but it's very fitting for the time. I'm surprised it's handling as well as it is, to be honest with you. flat foot shifting now. Stay in there. So much grip. Handles the carousel. That was not as clean as I wanted it to be. Should have really came out wide on the entry and then cut in. I was already on the inside of the turn, kind of cut that turn quite a bit. A little oversteer action. Overall, this car feels very balanced, surprisingly. Makes you almost feel a little superhuman because you do got that body roll and the fact that the car's, it's an older suspension, so, and you feel it, but it's really handling things really well. Never feels like it wants to get completely away from me, which is awesome. Baby. Oh my gosh, this is phenomenal. This is why you need stronger parts on your rig, because moments like these, when your stress level is pretty high, and you're not thinking about, oh, I need to be gentle on the way I downshift. That's when you start bending stuff like I did. To put it in just a few words, I absolutely love it. This shifter plate here, it's much wider. It's not as thin. It's going to accommodate more shifters. Again, you can mount this shifter plate not only on where I have it on that wheel column, you could also mount it next to your seat. We do have that new Quake Shifter that's coming out, or may already be out, that is huge, and that you can mount next to your seat in more of an actual natural position, so it could be next to your leg there. But I do not expect any shifters on the market, any sim shifters on the market, to stress that shifter plate at all. Now that we have those support braces on the sides underneath, there's nothing that's really going to bend that. You would have to run it over with a truck to really bend that. It's solid steel again, but now you have actual support bracing, and that makes all the difference. The other accessories that we received, the Prosimu carpet, as well as the butt kicker mount. The carpet surprised me just as much as that shifter plate surprised me. I knew the shifter plate, it needed the support braces underneath, so I was kind of expecting it to solve all the issues. I wasn't expecting it to be as robust and as large as it is, but the carpet's actually a really nice carpet. I was super surprised. And now that I have my rig on the carpet, I'm not destroying my carpet in my house. And I was surprised how big it was. I thought it would just fit under the rig and that's it. It's actually a very large carpet, and it makes sense that it is the size that it is. But yeah, I am very happy with this carpet. I think that's definitely a necessity if you're gonna buy it without actually putting a base underneath your rig. If you don't plan on making a platform, definitely look at this carpet. Even if you're planning on making a platform, having a carpet of the rig, of the size of the rig, will help you kind of size up what platform you need to make. Some people have already done that. And the butt kicker mount, to me that's kind of a take it or leave it. I don't even really use my butt kicker when I'm in the rig. There's so much detail and movement that's coming through the rig from the SEN6s that sometimes I don't even use my butt kicker, to be completely honest with you. But if you do have a butt kicker game or two, just like I do, and you want to feel the engine rumbling when you're in the pits, and you do already have simvibe, and I know SimTools is coming out with their own game vibe that's still in beta, but if you have simvibe like I do, it works and you feel it in your seat and whatnot, and you could feel the shifts. But you know, to me it's just another program running, and once I get the car going, this rig gives me so much information, my steering wheel gives me so much information, it kind of gets drowned out. So sometimes I don't even run simvibe at all. So that's more of a take it or leave it type deal. But I think the way that he actually made it, the way he made that mount, it works really well. It was very easy to install. I did have this before. I did have, what is this? This is probably like a 3/4 or a 1-inch socket here, covered in black tape, so that way it won't spin. I think this is a 3/4 socket. But we did use a socket beforehand, and that worked kind of fine. I mean, I did have the bolt going through the bottom here and mounted to the rig, but it was nowhere near as easy as that is to install, because that already has a screw installed in it, and you literally just install it like any other part of your rig. It was super easy to get it in. This took a little bit of time and a little bit of swearing here and there to get this going, but you know, a socket works too if you could sacrifice a socket. Hopefully I answered all your questions. If you have a Prosimu rig, definitely check out those accessories. They are nicer than I thought they were. I'm going to be completely honest. And that shifter plate is well worth the money, especially if you have a Fanatec shifter. If you haven't bent it yet, the time may come where you may bend it, especially if you have your handbrake mounted to the shifter like most of us do. Again, I'm Crash, this is RTA Motorsports. Definitely thank you so much for watching. I hope you subscribe, I hope you stay along. We have a lot more content coming, a lot more coverage coming, and as usual, have a great day. See you all next time.